All right, so we're going to take a peek at how we can graph linear equations when we are given an equation that is in slope-intercept form. So let's start by looking at what slope-intercept form is. And in the upper left-hand corner here, this first graph, we have this equation given to us. And it says that y is equal to 3x plus 2. Now, the reason we know it's in slope-intercept form is because it starts with y. So the format for slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now, what this actually means is that the m given to us is going to represent the slope. And this b value is going to represent the y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is simply where it crosses the y-axis. So let's take this equation, y equals 3x plus 2, and let's dissect it and graph it. The first thing I'm going to look at is, number one, I know it's slope-intercept form because this is y equals. It's not 3y equals, it's not negative y equals, it's just y equals. Now from here, what we can do is we can look at this number in front of the x. The coefficient of x is our slope. And the constant that comes at the end, the plus 2, is the y-intercept. And that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with the y-intercept. So I'm going to come down here. Let's do blue. And let's say number 1 is to plot the y-intercept. So I'm going to take this plus 2. I'm going to go on the y-axis. I'm going to go to positive 2. And I'm going to put my dot. Now, step 2 is going to be to move, and I always like to say move with slope. So the slope here is 3. Now let's remember, slope is the delta y. So slope is the delta y over the delta x, which means if I write this, it's 3 over 1, meaning from this point of 2, right, which is 0, 2, it's 2 on the y-axis, I'm going to move up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1 space. Now, because I run out of room here, what I'm actually going to do is to plot a third point is I'm going to go the exact opposite. So instead of positive 3, positive 1, I'm going to go negative 3, 1, 2, 3, negative 1. And in doing so, what I've been able to do now is I've been able to create 3 points. Now, those 3 points I can connect with a line, and I've now graphed this linear equation of y equals 3x plus 2. So let's take a look at this second equation that is to the right. This equation is given to us as y equals negative 5x. So this negative 5 is my slope. I'm going to write that as negative 5 over 1. And the y-intercept is a little bit different too, because now we have a negative 3. So negative 3 means that on the y-axis, I'm going to start right here, negative 3. I'm going to make that real big so you can see it. And the slope means negative 5, 1. So from this point, I have to go down 5, 1, 2, and I run out of graph. So I can't go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. But what I can do is I can reverse this and say 5, negative 1. And I'm just putting the negative on the other side. So what I did is I flipped each of those numbers, which means go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then backwards 1, left 1. And I realize that I'm probably going to run out of room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of graph this as is. Noticing that is a downward slope. So it's moving in a negative fashion. And it is negative 5 over 1. Now let's take a look. I have 2 more graphs to share with you. And I like this first graph because it deals with fractions. And fractions are always a sticking point for us. But we'll recognize that it's in slope-intercept form, and this fraction represents our slope. Now, Remember, slope is delta y, the change in y, over the change in x. So what this means is when it's a negative out front, I'm going to put that negative up top. So I'm going to put negative 2 over 3. So that means that I'm going to go down 2, right 3. And the point I'm going to start at is going to be at negative 2 on the y-axis. So negative 2 on the y-axis, put my dot. And from there, I'm going to move down 2. So negative 1, negative 2, and then right 3. 1, 2, 3. There we are. And to get my second point, I'm going to flip this. So I'm going to go up 2 and negative 3. So from this point, up 2 and negative 3. And from here, we can graph our line like so. And we've now graphed that linear equation. Now, the last one is a fairly large graph for this particular size of a ordered coordinate grid, but it tells me to start at positive 4. So I'm going to kind of simplify this. So we're going to start at positive 4. And the slope is negative 8/3, which is negative 8 over 3. So from here down 8. So there's 4, 8, and over 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we are. And so now I can graph this line. And we have our line. So just a short little tutorial on how to graph linear equations using slope y-intercept form.